Good day, everyone. Welcome back to Sailor Space Engineers and Navigators Hub. I welcome the new and returning viewers, especially to this space. Welcome on board. If you have not subscribed to Sailor Space, endeavor to do so. Click on the subscription button. Also, as we proceed, and you find this video interesting and educative, click the like button, comment, and share, so that we get a wider audience. Let's proceed as we discuss an important topic for today. Today, I'll be talking on starting main engine from code. So if you're on board the ship, you agree with me that you need to start your main engine. You went to port and your engine is off, or you went to dry dock and you just overhauled your engine. So that's what I mean by starting your engine from code. It has been left for a while without being used, so you now want to put it back into operation. Large marine engines, large two-stroke engine, you don't just go and start them. There are steps, there are procedures that you need to take before you can start your main engine. So that's what we are going to talk about today. Starting main engine from code, the procedures, the steps, what are the necessary things we should do, and also if you notice that I skipped or left out something that is important that should be done, do endeavor to draw my attention in the comment section. We are here to learn, so I can learn from you, you can learn from me. Alright, so if I want to describe the main engine, the engine room in a large ship, I will say that I can best illustrate the main engine as the heart of the ship, because that's what enables the ship propulsion. I can say movement from port to port, because if that main engine is not active, you can't move from port to port. So for us to achieve this movement of with the help of the main engine, we have to do the starting first of all correctly, because if the starting is not done correctly, there will be lots of damage, which will lead to so many maintenance costs and all other problems. So today I'll be taking you on the step-by-step procedures for starting main engine from code, without any compulsory order. While arranging them, I'll just be grouping them into subdivisions while we take them. I don't have any particular order. So some people do say it's actually very long. No. It's not actually long. It's more like preparation of an engine. And you get to find out that when you're actually doing these things real life, it's not as ambiguous as you see them when we are learning them. So sit tight, don't go anywhere. Have you subscribed to Sailor Space? Have you liked this video yet? Have you commented? Have you shared Sailor Space video? If not, do that and encourage us to do more. Thank you. So let's consider the steps now. The first category I'll be talking on is the air system checks. So under the air system check, open the drain on the air bottle to remove any water present in the air bottle. Check the air pressure in the air bottle, and if the pressure is not enough, start the air compressor to charge the air bottle to the required air pressure. The next step, we'll check the lubrication system. So we check the oil level in the main engine sump, and if necessary, we top it up. We check the oil level in the cylinder loop oil expansion tank, and if necessary, we top it off. And also we ensure that the supply to the lubricators are open. Okay, we ensure that the lineup for the piping systems are properly done. The valves are open. Then we start the main engine lubricating oil pump after we are sure of the lineup. Then we also start the turbocharger loop oil pump. When you're done, check the oil pressure to ensure they are correct. Then you check through all visible returns to observe for any abnormalities such as leakages. The faster you notice them, the easier it can be rectified. All right, the next step we'll be talking about the cooling system. So we'll have a round through the cooling system, mostly which is the water. Some vessels use seawater, some vessels use fresh water, depending on the demand and where it is being used. So under the cooling system, check the level of the expansion tank. If there is no fluid water inside, then you top it up. Then if you notice that after topping it up and it decreases immediately after top up, then that shows there is leakages, and you need to find out where those leakages are from and also rectify them. Line up the main engine preheater and start the main engine jacket fresh water circulating pump. Before starting the pump, always remember to line up the valves. All the valves for the cooling water system should be properly lined up before starting the pump. This is to warm the engine and allow for expansion of the engine parts in relation to one another to prevent wear and tear. Apparently, you agree with me that when there is no cooling, friction occurs. And when friction occurs, that leads to wear and tear, and we don't want that in our engine. So, after lining up the valves relating to all the cooling system, you start all your cooling water pumps as necessary. Remember, there's always a standby pump, so don't use your standby pump except when necessary. The cooling water pumps, such as we have the seawater pumps, we have the freshwater pumps. So when you're done, you check the cooling water system, the pressures and temperatures. Ensure they are correct and compare it with previous values. That's when you know how the system is working. Then you check for leakages, check the visible returns and ensure there are no leakages. Then check and line up your coolers. So finishing with the cooling system, we go to the fuel oil system. Without fuel, your engine cannot move. So we need to ensure we have adequate supply of fuel before we go to start our engine. So we have to do the following test. So we check if you're using heavy fuel oil or vessels that use both heavy fuel oil and diesel oil. Check that your supply tanks are full and ready. When I mean the supply tank can either be your service tank or your settling tanks. So if I use the supply tanks, I'm collectively referring to the service tank and the settling tank. Ensure that we have sufficient fuel for your journey or trip. Then if that fuel is not enough, you are required to purify more fuel and top it up to last for that particular voyage. So line up your fuel system. The valves, all the necessary valves should be open. All the ones that need to be closed should be closed. After then, drain all supply tanks properly to remove water, debris, dirt that can block your filters, clog your system. Check your filters, your primary filters, drain them to remove water that may settle. Then check fuel oil supply pump, inspect them, check the circulating pump, ensure the valves are properly open. Then you start your pump. Okay, so this part has to do with the crankshaft. So before you start your engine with that full force that it has to kick and start, you need to do something to your crankshaft. You need to make your crankshaft flexible, like it's more like you've been coiled up in a position for a long while. They don't just force you to start walking, or a baby that starts walking. You don't just force the baby to start walking. You do that slowly. So we're moving to the turning gear. We are going to slowly turn the engine with the turning gear to ensure we free the crankshaft. Also, this will enable proper lubrication of the relevant part, and most times we can use that to check if there are fluid or water content in the engine cylinder, and if that is true, that means we have some leakages somewhere in the cylinder. So let's go forward. We ensure all the cylinder indicator cocks are open for this process. Then we communicate with the bridge before turning the engine. You don't just turn the engine, you have to inform the bridge so they are prepared. I remember earlier we did pre-lubrication, where we started the lubrication pump. So pre-lubrication must be checked and ensure it is running effectively. Then slow turning of the engine should be carried out, at least one revolution of the crankshaft. Then you can turn the engine on one revolution of the crankshaft with the turning gear. While turning, check to see if fluid comes out from the indicator cock as explained earlier. While turning, the lubrication is ensured. Then okay, when you're done with the turning, always remember to disengage the turning gear and make sure it is in the locked out position, because this can cause real disaster if you don't have your turning gear interlock in place. So in as much as you will confirm that the turning gear is disengaged by checking the indicator lamp for turning gear, that the lamp is extinguished, it is also important that you check it manually, so we will not have emergencies on board. All right, so next we are going to be talking on the blow through. So we do what we call the blow through. So blow through is more like turning the engine on starting air. We are not starting the engine, but you're turning it on starting air. So before you do this, you communicate with the bridge and get the propeller clearance before turning the engine. So blow through is always encouraged to be done at least 30 minutes approximately, or let me just say the latest possible moment before you start your engine. This helps to force out carbon deposits from your engine, as much as it will also help remove any kind of fluid that is in the engine cylinder. So for the blow through procedure, you open the main stop valve in the starting air line and shut off the drain. Bring the main engine to standby mode. You select the slow turning on the main engine operating panel, if that is present. If it is not present, you give a kick from the engine control room by moving the regulating handle to dead slow momentarily. Communicate with the bridge while operating the telegraph. As the engine turns, check to see if any fluid flows out of the indicator cock as earlier explained. When the engine has turned one revolution, move the regulating handle back to the stop position. You're stopping the blow through. Close all of the engine cylinder indicator cocks. Also close the turbocharger drains. Alright, so if you're following us truly, you can notice that we've really done a lot in preparation for starting our main engine. So we going forward, inform the bridge before you start your test. We're going to the test part. You test the auxiliary, you start your auxiliary blower, then you perform your telegraph test. You test for steering gear, the steering gear test. You test the emergency steering gear in case of an emergency to ensure that everything is okay. You test from maneuvering from the steering compartment. All those are tests you should do to ensure that all those things are working properly. Check your controls in the emergency maneuvering station, that's in the steering flat, in case of emergency. Although we don't pray for emergency, but it has to be done to ensure that you are compliant, and if any emergency occur, that you can handle it. All right, having finished your test, observe all the running parameters you've set up in your main engine and ensure that the values are correct. So thank you for staying till the end of this discussion. If you notice any step I left out, please drop your comment in the comment section, and also feel free to comment. I really love to hear from you. Meanwhile, subscribe to Silo Space Engineers and Navigators Hub. Like this video, share to your friends and colleagues. Until next week, be healthy and stay safe. I remain your host, Dr. Jonah.